clear
noticed,
on
yeah.
that.
Okay.
I believe that might be, or some kind of working
Yeah.
group.
A working group, okay. But we could have, what we've done in state government and probably local is done is what they call listening sessions, where you sort of present, they're not public hearings because that has a different meaning, but listening sessions where you just say, just want to give people an opportunity to hear what we've been
Yeah.
thinking about, to listen and then offer comments.
I think that's
And-
a good idea.
And I think to do that, to keep this an open, transparent process,
Yeah,
invite and engage people in, this exciting work that we're doing so that we
Right.
can have it work for folks. So,
right.
but without having an unwieldy committee where
Mhm.
you've tried to represent every single interest in the community, then
Right,
you're
that's
going to end up with
Have
just
all
too
the
large a group. And
stakeholders, yeah.
there are some decisions to be made, but more important to keep people informed about progress.
Right.
So
So
this
that,
is reasonable.
and I thought we were going to have like a preliminary meeting on the town administrator and the building commissioner this week, and maybe they've met and I missed it.
I think Mike's been on vacation.
It was last week. He
last
just
week.
came in, so I've been kind of staying away because,
I
what
saw
a week.
Mike, I saw
away
Mike
we'll
this
do.
morning at the Frederick Anderson Medal of
Oh,
Honor
yeah.
transport to the police station. That was very, very well done. It was very nice.
I forgot
But
that
he
was
didn't,
happening.
we didn't have really much time to talk.
Yeah,
Um,
so
But anyway, he was there. So do we know with regards to this property, whether the, I believe it was $200,000 that was in the state budget earmarked? Did that
200,000.
Did
I
that
would
stay
believe it
and make it through
was,
the
yeah.
process?
I believe so.
Here, it came through conference committee, so I didn't see any reason to believe that it wouldn't. So,
Yeah, I think it stayed, and I think the governor signed it, and
good, yeah. Okay, good. All right then. Open meeting law update, pandemic flexibility.
I had sent you, it feels like a long time ago now, about how they were revisiting, the state was revisiting the provisions, and they were going to have it so that the majority of, or the quorum of any board or committee would have to meet in person. What happened was that they've extended the pandemic provision to March 31st, 2023. So it allows a remote access without a quorum of the public body physically present at a meeting. And that we need to provide adequate alternative access is what they deem it. So if there was ever a situation where we all, two of the board weren't able to meet, but you were able to be at home, God forbid anyone got COVID or anything, we would be able to still meet according to this extension.
Okay.
But
Good.
I just wanted to update that.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, training for trustees.
So I don't know if you have seen, there's been a lot of correspondence from the Mass Board of Library Commissioners about upcoming training, orientations coming up, and their deep dives, which looks at a specific topic. So
You're both on that list, right?
Yes,
Yeah, okay,
Okay.
and I'm signed up for September 14th in Medford.
Great. What's September 14th? Is that the orientation?
There are several of them, but that's the
Yeah.
one that I could make.
Okay,
that is,
it's not one of the deep dives.
no.
No,
Okay, it's the orientation.
oh,
There-
sorry.
There's also, I just wanted to highlight that the Massachusetts library system also provides training. Or, if you wanted more in-depth
Mhm.
information on certain topics, that was a resource. They're another state agency they're not the regulatory body, but they support libraries they're the ones who do a lot of our training for library staff and provide the delivery service, and they do those kinds of behind the scenes things. And then another place that provides training as you go is an organization. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's called Web Junction. And I
Hmm.
can send this out,
Yeah.
and they update their class offerings every month or so, and they have there's like a little trustee and friends section. They talk about recruiting volunteers who sound very aligned to our I forgot what we already called them, and from the strategic plan, the advocates that we're looking ahead to. So I just wanted to highlight those things. And then there's the Library Foundation Forum coming up. So that's just a lot, but
Yeah.
just so you know what resources are there. And
I think we previously talked about choosing one of the deep dive topics maybe, and
yeah,
observing those and then talking about it at a meeting. But let's let Ann get through the orientation.
Well, it's in
Probably.
September, so that's soon.
Yeah, well, maybe you'll come out of the orientation with like, oh, this would be a good topic. So
Perhaps.
it might be a
Or
topic that they cover. You say,
what
oh,
did I do?
what did I sign up for? All right, thank you. All right, statistics, new business statistics. How are we doing? Everybody get to see these on camera.
So I have the year end, the fiscal year 22 year end in the same format. And then I've done a few new things for fiscal year 23 based on some of our discussion.
Does that show
Yeah,
up?
it is.
Yeah, just want people to know that we actually, this is what we're talking. I don't know if we ever show it. Now we did. All right. So. Of course, some of them all look. the
I know.
same. But presume the numbers towards the lower end of the more recent ones. So that blue, right, is,
Yes.
yeah. You can
So
always look
we're-
at the chart. Yeah, we can. It's remarkable how the pattern just continues to
Mhm.
follow the same pattern, perhaps at different, numbers are different, but. Okay, well, any questions, comments, any highlights you want to,
I just
call to our
wanted
attention?
to explain the new set as of July. I took those numbers and I compared what we are doing from now to the last year. And then I took from now from now compared to numbers from 5 years ago.
Mhm.
And then from now, from numbers from 10 years ago,
Mm.
to give a different view of what's happening. I mean, there's obviously a lot of background to current numbers to put us where we are.
Yep.
And then I've also added the breakout, the pie charts you see are, it's slicing one of the charts is slicing the items that have gone out by children's items, teen items,
Mhm.
and adult items. And then the other one is looking at the profiles of the users. So if it was checked out on a child card, it was represented in that number, with the same with the adult and teen, the profiles. And I thought that was, seeing those two views were, I think the items is probably a little more reflective of the things that go out, because a parent can put a bunch of kids
Yeah.
materials on
On their
their
card.
adult card.
Mhm.
So as I was
And vice
doing it,
versa.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So I kind of wanted to give the picture of that.
No, that's helpful. It's helpful, because we saw the reverse, which was the child card being more
Right,
than it was just the children are taking out the
right.
adult or teen books.
And
So
that's
this
a
kind of affirms what we would expect.
family level decision, you
yeah,
know, if.
yeah.
The other thing for the online subscriptions, I'm counting things a little differently. I used to keep track if they weren't obvious checkouts or downloads. I am using the state reports definition of use, which is now defined on the bottom of the electronic use. So that is more of if I were to search for an item in a database or one of our electronic resources, and I took the time to click on an article or click on a record that was there, that's the measure that we're counting, is that you viewed the record. And that corresponds to the ERIS report. That's how the federal government defines the usage of the electronic resources that we have. And then I just separated the mobile app and the wireless use from the electronic resources. So I know that's a lot to
Yeah, I just, is
sink
it?
in.
Where,
It would be,
this one?
yeah. So
Go
are
ahead,
you looking
please.
for the electronic?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to.
That's, oh, wait, is that
So it
it?
looks like there's two different.
Yeah, that one is fiscal year 22. and
Oh, I
this
see.
is
So it's this
the-
one.
Yeah,
I see.
and I did define it below.
Oh, okay. I get it. Download of text,
Yeah.
view online record.
It
And
almost
streaming of audio.
feels counterintuitive to do it that way, but
Mhm.
that's how,
Okay,
I don't know if you have any questions or,
And the most popular is song streaming. Is
yeah,
there-
yeah,
Which, of
because
course, is not even in my,
you're allowed, well,
good.
the benefit with the package we have with Freegal is that it allows like 3 hours of streaming at a time, not at a time, maybe for the week.
Mhm.
So you can fill in a lot of songs, even if you listened for like 45 minutes or an hour, there's a lot, but that all counts. There's different playlists, there's different albums available. We were able to even a few years ago through Facebook, we created the Dighton, I think we have the Dighton songs, or I forgot what I called the playlist, and I took song requests
Mhm.
off of Facebook to get people talking. And we have or music to Dighton's ears, I think is what I called it. And I took everybody's request, and if they were available, they got onto the playlist. So
It's great.
that was a while ago though.
so Hoopla seems hugely more popular than Canopy. Is that because Canopy is newer, because they're so different in their content?
Hoopla, the biggest use on Hoopla is with the audiobooks.
Oh, okay. Well, that
So
makes sense,
Hoopla
yeah.
offers some audiobooks, ebooks, some TV.
Mhm.
I actually have a Hoopla document around for July in the folder that kind of breaks out I didn't file it away. So we are billed based on use. So the digital movie and digital television is, there are 9 views.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's probably comparable to
Mhm, yeah, it
Canopy,
is. If you look at it, we have number. Thank you. That helps.
but the highest use by far, digital audiobooks make up almost half
And I
of the
forget that
use.
Hoopla has that, so I'm glad
Yeah.
I asked, because it reminds me that it does.
And the thing about Hoopla is that there's simultaneous access, so that if I have an audiobook, you can, if we wanted to listen to
Oh.
the same thing, there's nothing to prevent you from
Unlike
that,
others, we have to
unlike
wait. Yeah.
Overdrive.
Good. And just one other question, New York Times, there's no number there, is that?
For July, yeah, I have to chase them. They don't
Okay.
send things automatically.
Yeah. Okay.
So I have to chase them, so I try not to do it. The state databases, there's no number for them either, because I just don't have the,
Okay, any other questions, comments about statistics? Payroll and bills.
I have payroll.
I had to watch earlier when I looked at this and I see Rita has a purple pen, so she can't, and you have a pencil, so she can't, and I don't have any.
I'll go get a pen. I only have one invoice and it's for the renewal of the universal class platform. I'll find one. Lori has a lot of colorful pens.
She
too,
does.
so see what happens. It should work for one
Okay.
of you.
I'll get it.
Whoever would like.
Need to practice my penmanship.
There you go. All right,
That's it.
that's it. Well, that's good.
I'm on vacation next week, so Brett will contact
Okay.
someone for payroll. Anyway,
I'll be here Thursday and then I'm leaving Friday and I'll be gone.
okay,
I'm here.
I'm around too.
all right.
But we would need to do it with Britt on Thursday.
Yeah,
'Cause she's
Yeah.
Right.
not
because
working
I
Friday.
don't, she's not even working on Saturday next
Oh.
week. It's her Saturday, but they had to switch. There was some reshuffling. I'll just add the department expectations from the town administrator. He just, it's not a huge problem because I do track, but he was just very, we all as a are required to really watch our spending and, but I do try to balance that. I just wanted you to know that that message was sent.
Harris report.
Okay. I'm done. The ARIS report is it's one part of our state aid requirements. And it's the statistical statistical data from the end of the fiscal year. So it looks at how many people visited the library, how many hours we were open, how many Saturdays were open, how many hours after 5 p.m. were open, salaries of the staff, square footage of, so like everything, how many programs we had, attendance, and so every year the chair has the honor of signing the form.
What does ARIS stand for?
Annual
Report information survey.
Okay,
And that's the Mass Board of Library Commissioners takes all of our information to get the Massachusetts numbers that the federal government requires. That's done.
8, 11.
And we'll be working, the next part of this is the actual state aid report, which determines that with their formulas determines how much of your municipal requirement is meeting the formula that they, so it's the average of the last 3 years of your budget plus 2.5%. And how much of it are you spending? Are you spending enough on materials for a community your size? And so it's all that. That's coming up next. So.
Construction grants with MBLC.
So the I've already started trying to figure out what we need to do to remove ourselves from the waiting list, since we're never going to be at 395 Main Street. Essentially, the town administrator has to write a letter to the executive manager. I don't know his exact title. The head of the Mass Board of Library Commissioners. And we've started that in place, but it's, he's just getting back from vacation. So I don't know if it makes sense to have a vote of the trustees just to formalize it, or, I mean, I don't know that it's really required, but I didn't know if you wanted to.
Yeah, sure. Makes sense as well.
Okay.
There's any harm. So could I have a motion to, what is the motion to?
To authorize the town administrator to send the letter to remove ourselves from the construction wait list, maybe?
There you go.
Construction grant, one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I, Rita Rougeau, make a motion to send a letter to the town administrator to remove us from the construction grant.
Wait list. Okay.
Yeah, I think we just need to authorize the town administrator to
do
send the
that.
letter.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second, Ann Whiteson.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, we'll vote. Ron O'Connor, aye.
Rita Rougeau, aye.
Ann Whiteson, aye.
Okay,
Motion passes.
thank you.
Thank town administrator for sending that in. That's good news because we don't have to wait anymore.
Mhm.
Right.
All right, Labor Day weekend.
That's coming up, and I didn't know, we historically are not open on that Saturday, so I didn't know if you wanted to continue that or if,
Sure, because we used to be closed from Memorial Day through Labor
Right,
Day on
right.
Saturdays, correct?
right,
So,
okay. I don't know if that requires a vote or not, or I don't know if it does. Okay,
No. As long as we're gonna meet our requisite hours for,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
no. Okay.
okay, capital outlay requests.
We were given instructions to start the next set of 5-year plans. So that would take us into fiscal 28.
Wow.
And I clarified that we should be planning for the furniture or the technology that would go into the new building as best we can, so that the town could plan for that. So that's out there. I think this is due on September 23rd. So I'll try to present it at our September meeting. Is that,
Mhm.
Sounds good.
okay.
COVID tests.
The library has been named a place where the public can
I saw
get
that.
COVID tests. So
Okay.
both of our locations have the testing kits. And we're ready to go for whenever people,
Mhm.
if they would like to pick it up, we have them. So we'll do that.
Do you happen to know what the expiration date is on the test kits? Because we've acquired some for the government program that expired
Oh,
this month. So it's just important to keep note of that and maybe just let people know that they should not be used beyond the expiration date. I'm sure those, the dates on those should be fine, but you know, we got some back in March or something.
it looks like 5/6/23. Is that, am I
Yeah, that
reading
sounds
that
right.
correctly? That's the date
Yeah, that makes sense.
and that's the factory date?
Sure. Good.
Well,
Okay.
that's good. They're not going to expire in 2 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have a set.
I think it's important for people to know that they expire. And that
Yes.
those expiration dates are, you know, kind of, from what I've read, are pretty solid and one not ought to use them, especially because they're so easy to get for free. Just,
No,
we just,
you're looking for it when you need
guess
it.
you can just throw them in the trash. They're
Mhm.
not medical waste, are they?
No.
So. All right. Volunteer recognition program. So having been to the recognition for Mason Tavares, and that was just a very wonderful thing, the presentation, and
Bless you.
Yeah.
unfortunately, you had to sit through a rather lengthy debate about early voting issues that went on and on. But it occurred to me that we have volunteers that we as trustees could recognize that, you know, Mason's volunteer work, I believe, was extraordinary with 300 hours. I don't know that we have anybody who's approached that. But it would be nice to kind of put that in place, and whatever that means. I think we can we talk more about it, but actually I think specifically I said I think it would be nice for the trustees to send a note to Mason, and that's
Mhm,
so if
yes.
we do that, you know, the selectmen did something, and I think we can do something, just a letter from us, but in doing that, kind of open the door to, well, the, you know, the volunteers, that the recognition by the selectmen or 300 hours is not the bar, that the bar is that you've volunteered. We could have a volunteer recognition day kind of thing, or, you know, we do acknowledge even on an annual basis from the trustees and the director. You probably do something anyway, Jocelyn, but it occurred to me it would be good for the trustees to do that. And so, yeah.
How old is he?
14.
He's a great,
Good man, good man.
Yes,
He's
yeah,
he's a great kid and a very talented pianist also.
busy. Wow.
He was crucial to the program with the parks last year,
Mhm.
where we had the outreach, where we couldn't open, but he was there just about every day that we were there, or I should say Lori was there, because
Does he go to, where does he go, DR?
he's going to be entering Bristol Aggie
Mr. Laggy?
in the fall.
Good.
His brother is going to be running our we're testing out a Dungeons and Dragons club for teens, so he was willing to take that on, and so they're a very supportive family of the
Mhm.
Good.
library.
Okay. Well, I'll be happy to draft something for us to look at. There's no rush to do this. We can do it in our September meeting, but I could draft a letter we can look at. And then maybe have it ready to sign next next,
I was just looking at the calendar. The first Thursday in September is September 1.
Is that,
so it's before Labor Day.
Yes, and then obviously the 8th is the next Thursday and it's after Labor Day.
are you even back?
Yeah, I'm getting back around the 27th or 28th of
Oh,
August.
okay.
Okay. So while we're on that, do you want to do the 8th then? Meet on the 8th? I'm away the following week, so.
Sure, the 8th is fine with you, Ian.
I don't think I'm going anywhere.
You're
Yet.
going to Medford on the
Oh,
12th.
Listen, I've never been to Medford.
Tufts University.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so we can, so how many volunteers do we have right now?
I would say probably Mason because of the
Okay.
pandemic.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And there was always a challenge to get people in our little space because there was a little space, there was no like real place to
Yeah.
set them up, but Lori would have a group because, you know, kids are looking for community service and
Yeah.
Mhm.
so she would have some, in the past, we've had some really great volunteers. The 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten program, one of our volunteers really kind of organized that and got it going with Lori's assistance and this going back sometime. So
Seems like there's a day for everything. So is there a National Library Volunteer Day, or there's obviously a volunteer day? I don't know if there's a National Library Volunteer Day.
I don't know about that, but we could probably do something during National Library Week.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's either
Mhm.
Volunteer Day or National, I think Library Week makes more sense.
I
Yeah,
think that's in April.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So-
All right, just something, so I think we need a volunteer recognition program, but we also need a volunteer recruitment program.
Wednesday, April 6th is National Library Outreach Day, formerly National Bookmobile Day, a day to celebrate library outreach and the dedicated library professionals for meeting their patrons where they are. But that is,
Well, that's when we got to get on our calendars too.
yeah. But that's Outreach Day.
We
Is
can-
that during National Library Week?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is, okay.
we
So,
can do our own thing.
yeah, we could do our own thing, and
Declare
by
your
next
own.
April, by next April, we will probably be, you know, in sort of advanced stages of readiness for the new space.
National Volunteer Week is the same week as National Library Week. So it's a nice way to just marry the two.
Thank you, Ann, for taking care of that.
Google.
Did you just
Answer.
go in and say, I'm changing and make it the same, and then Ron's problem is solved?
It was just
Problem.
serendipity.
Okay, laptop borrowing policy and guidelines.
So I don't have a written policy per se, but I've been looking at other libraries. Most of that, some of them are just library in use, like with the reference. Our grant says we have to let people take them out. So some libraries do check out Chromebooks or laptops. They have limited software.
Mhm.
They will have the software installed that says every time it shuts down, everything that you've done is wiped
Mhm.
clean to try to, you know, keep it more secure. And with the grant, we are supposed to keep track of users. Now, so I've been trying to find ways that we can do that, minimizing privacy concerns and we're supposed to keep it track for like 10 years. So a few libraries have an agreement for patrons to sign. So some of it is accepting the responsibility. I'm responsible for replacing it.
Okay, that
I'm
was gonna be my question,
responsible
yeah.
for, if something doesn't work, contacting the
Mhm.
library right
Mhm.
away. I would add a few things like, I understand that I need to save things on I don't know the right wording, but
Mhm.
I'm not going to be able to save my documents to, you'd have to either use the cloud or
Yeah.
device. And that I acknowledge that the library will keep a record of this use due to grant requirements or something to that effect. And I will keep it, the form itself, the acknowledgement form, I think is the way to keep track of those records. Because they say you can be audited at any time.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I think we have to have a filter, basic filter on them. So I'll include all those catch points, not that they may not be completely internalized when you're checking off things, but we have to I think making all the disclaimers there is
Sure.
the way to do it, and to keep track of that record without putting sales in a position, because they're trying to move away from keeping data for privacy reasons. So I think that's probably the way to do it. I think too, I've seen that there's one library in particular made a kit of the laptop and the hotspot together.
Mhm.
But I've also seen other, like Seekonk was an example of loaning the Chromebook and saying, if you need the hotspot, you can take one of that. You can take that as well.
Okay.
So there's a few different approaches to that. I think it's probably, adding maybe the hotspots to make sure that we have that for people using the laptop is the way to go.
Mhm.
We have 8 of them. The good news is no one's had to wait for them this summer, but they've been out a bit
Yeah.
too. They're
What's the length of
used.
time? They've been out?
Hotspots are a week, and I'm starting to explore. Maybe we should be offering it for 2 weeks. And the laptop, we should offer it for 2 weeks, maybe too. Or do you think that's too much time? I feel like that's what people have been, other libraries.
What
like
if you do a
people-
week and with the option of renewing another week?
We could do that,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's-
It's a great suggestion.
So the laptops can take a USB drive?
Yeah.
Okay, but when we have software, we have virus protection software.
Yep.
And so that runs, we run that every time it comes back. then.
I think that I have to develop the program to make sure things are clean. They're not,
Mhm.
that's such a bad word to use in this situation, to make sure that
They're not bugged. with
the
viruses.
laptop is healthy.
Mhm.
So I have to figure out what those things would be. And then, so that's kind
It
of
should,
how I also need to get like carrying cases for that too.
Mhm.
I don't have the carrying cases.
I think there's a way that whenever I know my computer at home, when I attach an external drive, it offers to scan it,
Mm,
but it's optional. And I'm just wondering if one thing for us would be, it's like for our laptops, it's required. Like somebody sticks it in there and it said, please wait while we scan your your external device. There's something to look into.
Yeah,
Like I said, no
I'll-
with me, it's yes or no. Most of the time I say no, I just put it in yesterday.
But if we include that, then that would also be under the, also be included in the agreement.
Right.
So would people sign the agreement every time they take it? Or would there, I think that's the way to go, but
I
my
think
thought
that's
was,
Do
the way to
too.
go.
as opposed to having an agreement and then we have to pull out a file and have them sign it each time they take it out, but they've signed it once and they add their name with their date on it.
No, I think
Just do a new one each
for
time.
each
Yeah.
time they
Take
take
it.
it, they have to agree to it.
It's
It's a reminder.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
and then if something changes on it, I guess we just put, please note that.
And the Reading
changed.
Public Library, they just did one with a Google form. So
Hmm.
I can adapt it to Dighton needs and a lot of it, a lot of what they've included is, I mean, it's relevant to us. I'll try to make it not so cumbersome with all our little requirements. But so, and I've found a few different, I've been looking at different, there's a few libraries that have that in place, the acknowledgement form, to get it in writing, so
Okay.
it hadn't occurred to me. And it solves my problem of keeping the track for the audit, potential audits.
Yeah.
So, I should have more crafted by September 8th. I'd like to be a lot more ready. Dighton starts school
They usually
after
start
Labor
after
Day.
Labor Day. Yeah, they usually start. So I would say that they'd probably be starting Labor Day as what, the 5th?
So that week,
So the
Mhm.
7th.
okay.
Mhm.
Where I know a lot of districts have gone before Labor Day this
Mhm.
year.
Yeah.
So that's why I wasn't sure.
We had company this weekend from Arizona and their child started school last week.
Mhm.
Yeah, the South.
And
Yeah.
she is a native Arizonian and she remembers starting school in August, but not that early, she said.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
get a lot of snow days, so I can understand why
Yeah.
they would.
Mm. God, they probably are getting wildfire days though, or something. Right?
Yeah,
Doesn't Florida start early too?
Yeah, they
Florida
do.
is started,
And they have no snow days.
I talked to another friend yesterday and she said that they've started. And I was with a friend today and her great nephew is starting kindergarten next Wednesday in Miami.
Yeah, so I just, I noticed the marquee in front of Bristol Aggie, they're starting ahead,
Yeah.
so it just,
And unfortunately, Dighton Rehoboth insists upon always starting after Labor Day.
I just want to I want to try to get these ready
Mhm.
as soon as school,
Yes.
as
Yeah.
early as I can. But anyway,
okay.
so
Anything else before upcoming programs? Do we have any friends on the? any
no,
friends
I
on-
think the Friends are meeting next Thursday. I think they're meeting here.
Yes, because I ran into Zach at
Okay.
Benefits.
Yeah, I think they're meeting here
Really soon.
and because I'm not in next week, I asked to join by Zoom because I feel like it's been a while since.
Okay.
So I can share, if anyone wanted to sit in the meeting, I can share the Zoom unless you wanted to go in person.
Does anybody want to go? Friends? Just if more than one went, we might need to post.
Oh,
it,
yeah, you would. Yeah, that's a good point.
So. Okay,
I'll at least go. but
yeah, I might, well, when is it?
Next Thursday.
Depends on how packed I am
6:30. Yeah.
and what time I'm leaving Friday
All
morning.
right. Well, if you can send me the link, maybe I'll drop it.
All right. I'll let Zach know that one of
Okay.
them might be coming.
All right, so that leaves us with upcoming programs, fall planning and story times with Dighton PTO.
Anything with personnel?
No,
Okay.
No. Did I know of?
I'm just asking it because it was
All
down here.
Yeah.
correspondence.
No,
Oh, I just assumed there's no note.
there's
there
no
that
little,
no-
yeah,
Okay.
bullets
Yeah, if
underneath
there's nothing
it.
there, there's nothing there, so.
So with the fall planning, I would really love to have a Halloween story time with a storyteller for adults.
Oh, that would be great.
I don't know, I don't know if I'm like too late to the game for that, but I'm looking.
Mhm.
I have, when Pat Gales was in the library, she was telling us about the plaque program that the Historical Commission has for historic homes. So I was like, that would actually be a good program, is bringing people from the commission to talk about the homes that have gotten the plaques and the history of that. So I think Pat was going to bring it up at the commission, in a commission meeting. So I have to follow up with her. She's going away soon. So that's something I'd like to do in the fall. And then I just want to do, I have to figure out other things to do. Phyllis is starting a banned book discussion group. They are meeting the third Thursday of every month at 4:00 at prime time. And this first one in September is, I think they're laying the groundwork for the club, maybe getting a list of books to read and talk about, explain why we're doing it, that kind of thing. The story times with the Dighton PTO, Lori was invited, I think next Saturday for, the PTO is having, I don't know what you would call it, but they invited Lori to come, and I don't know if there are other things that they're planning to do with school, but Lori was at least invited to read stories to different grades of kids under the tree near the,
Mhm,
by the playground. So she'll be doing that she's also working on the Saturday. So we'll put a sign on the door here and kind of,
Put it on
yeah,
Facebook and
yeah. So, do I have anything? Is that it? No. So that's happening. That's next week. So that's always a good
Yeah.
beginning for the school year. Does anyone have any other questions?
Sort of kind of neat thing this morning. I don't know if we can make a program out of it, but at the Frederick Anderson Medal of Honor program this morning, it's a veterans group, I believe, from Fall River, they gave doves to 4 members of the committee that did the work around it, and they released the doves. Each of the 4 people released the doves, and then this is the fascinating part, is they released a bunch of homing pigeons who were then going to lead them back
Oh,
home
cool.
to Fall River, I guess. They're just gonna fly them back. They
Oh,
just,
wow.
yeah, this is, but they went off and then put the doves knew to follow the pigeons.
somebody
yeah.
recently had a pigeon. Obviously it had a tag that was lost. It like was around here, but it didn't belong here. It was like, do you know who this belongs to?
Wow.
Yeah.
One of my neighbors used to have pigeons.
I had just never thought of pigeons leading a dove home.
Yeah, that was
I mean,
fascinating,
just
like,
that is
how did,
fascinating.
Yeah,
That they
and
know.
I don't know if they were, I thought he said that they were just gonna follow them all, back to Fall River,
When I was in
as opposed to
Madeira,
back to the cage that they were in
Right.
here.
when I was in Madeira, there were a lot of pigeons, especially when we were sitting out on like the deck area. And the colors were fascinating, not like colors you see here.
Hmm.
There were some really pretty ones.
That's really nice. You all right?
Tickle.
So, the question I saw post, we can adjourn. They have a motion to adjourn,
I move we adjourn.
and moves to adjourn.
Rita Russo second.
Okay. All in favor? Ron O'Connor, aye.
Rita Russo, aye.
Ann Meitzen, aye.
Okay, great. Meeting adjourned. Very stuff. Question. I think I saw posed on the internet somewhere. Have you ever seen a